6 years ago, the hero Link threw down the King of Evil, Ganon. Since then, the land of Hyrule has been basking in a time of peace. But one day... Help me! Each night I have dreamt the same dream, the black shadow over that vast temple. Why does it haunt my memories? No, that's... I can only hope that nothing terrible will happen. In her dreams, the princess sensed a new danger. Then, that day... Huh? What is that strange light in the east? Princess Zelda followed the mysterious brilliance. Now what could that have been? It's almost as if something fell from the sky. Who's this? A strange youth was lying there. Ah, is that you, Agina? Oh, if it isn't Princess Zelda! I saw a strange beacon of light shining from here. What's happened? This here young'un dressed in something unusual. Ah, not dead, I hope. Princess, this child doesn't hail from the village. There's no time to worry about such things. Come! This youth could be injured. Hurry and help me, please. Carrying the youth, Agina and Princess Zelda hurried to the nearby shrine. It is strange, but there appears to be no wounds. We shall allow this youth to rest here. It's been a long time, Agina. You look well. You are as beautiful as ever, Princess Zelda. While we speak of things, I have not seen old Sahasrara recently. My elder brother warned me that danger surrounds Hyrule. He went in search of Link, the hero. Link, the hero? Link, the hero, the legendary swordsman who alone fought Ganon. Seeking new adventure, he left Hyrule behind. You as well? I too have been dreaming only nightmares of late. I feel as though a shadow draws near. Princess, this place may also be rife with danger. Please, return to Hyrule Castle. You speak the truth. I'll leave for the castle at once, but... Agina... The youth who appeared in the light. I feel a strange power about this one. If endowed with courage, this could be the hero of light. You don't say. With these words, Princess Zelda took leave of Agina's shrine. This is a disaster. Aren't you the soldier who was at the Eastern Temple? What's wrong? Are you alright? You're hurt! A horde of monsters came at us from nowhere. All of the soldiers defending the temple with me were killed. It looks like they haven't appeared here yet, but... Oi, hold on to your strength. So Zelda's prophecy has been fulfilled. If the monsters have returned, then... The princess departed a long time ago. She must be escorted safely to the castle. But what will happen to Hyrule now? We must rely on the youth. A new danger has befallen the legendary kingdom of Hyrule. Can the mysterious youth save this doomed land? Not the most interesting of intros. Hello everyone, and welcome to Let's Play BS The Legend of Zelda, The Ancient Stone Tablets. Ah, so you have awakened, young child from another world. You are wrapped in a mysterious light which brought you here, although I don't know what it was. So naturally, I do not know who you are, but according to Princess Zelda, this land of Hyrule once again faces a crisis, and only you can stop it. I didn't believe it at first, but now I think we ought to heed those words. To learn more, you must go to the Eastern Temple. The location is marked on your map. Go outside and press the X button. And we received the big bag. You can carry an assortment of items. This will carry anything you find on your journey. Be careful as you go. If there's something you don't understand, return here. I can give you good advice. So starting off, we're actually right next to where the Eastern Temple is, because there it is right there on the map, where the first thing is on the map. And I'm going to say this first right off the bat. The main gimmick that you're going to be noticing throughout the game is the timer, which I mentioned in the intro video. It starts at whatever hour it is, 6, and ends at that hour 56. So we have 50 minutes to do this entire section of the game. And on the bottom of the screen, you can see what the BS Zelda team did to basically make up for the lack of voice acting, even though there actually is now a version of the game that does contain that, but it's only usable for the certain emulator that I just don't like that much. So basically, throughout the clock, that thing is going to start going off not randomly. It's set times telling us certain information. And there's going to be a couple characters down there, namely Agina and a seer, who's going to be the one that predicts everything that's going to go on and tells you in particular about the effects. Either way, the Eastern Temple, starting off, has seen some layout changes, but there's first off a key right there. And if you're noticing, we don't have a sword or shield. In fact, at the moment, we don't really have any way to defend ourselves. Mostly. You do start the game off with a golden bee, who will be there as long as you don't have a sword. That's just so you don't get dicked over by not having a weapon early on. I don't like using the golden bee, though, just because I don't like that sound effect. And in here we got our first treasure chest containing the level 1 sword. Press the B button to use it. Hold down the button to build up power. And we can do that stuff again. Listen carefully. Use an item to open a path through the fragile plate of the left wall. That'll come into play in a moment. Oh, hey, another chest already. And 10 bombs. We can carry around the placed bomb by pressing A. Bombs are actually going to be your best friend in this game. I almost said actually twice, so that would have been redundant. Bombs are going to be your best friend in this game, purely because there are so many bombable walls in these dungeons. It's ridiculous. And here we get the map. We can use it to see our current position and the rest of the dungeon by pressing X. So let's take a look at what Dungeon 1 looks like. Now, there's a room above us. For the most part, you don't need to use the bombs. More or less, what's going to be behind most of the bomb walls is rupees. And if it's not obvious by the 5 digits of rupees you can carry up on the top, you're going to be carrying a lot of rupees in this game. My record's around 23,000. Now, even though it's not going to be overly apparent because, you know, first dungeon and such, even though we're not even 3 minutes in, well, to the actual gameplay at least, is that on the whole, due to the way that this game is set up, by the way, more rupees up here, this is going to be a very short and very easy Zelda game. As I mentioned during the intro thing, the dungeons are designed to be easily completable in that hour, so it's very likely that you will not screw up that much in these dungeons, just because they're so linear and easy. And here we get the small shield that can block arrows and stones, so now we're basically just beginning of A Link to the Past Link. And speaking of Link, you might be wondering where he is. They mentioned he was adventuring, but they don't exactly say where, mostly because this game's kind of outside the canon timeline, even though it's not much of a canon timeline to begin with. By the way, compass, which shows you the exact location of the boss. At this point, Link is off doing the Oracle games, to some extent. There is supposed to be some time between the two, but we never quite learn when and how much. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Rule of thumb, check your map every like 20 seconds or so, just because you can really get a good judge on where to go next and see what optional pathways there are. Because I'm going to take an estimate and say at least 1/3 of the rooms in these dungeons is optional. At least for rupees reasons. Now, I should probably get that chart up. There is actually an exact chart on the BS Zelda site. I think it's the Sekibon section that goes over exactly what happens and when. So actually, let me get that up. Timed events week 1. Really, at this point in the Eastern Temple, though, I only recommend you throw things at enemies just because the pots are your best weapon early on. They just do so much damage. Actually, I already missed the first timed event. The first timed event that actually happened at 110 was 2 fairies appearing at the center of the screen right after another. For the most part, the events in this game, or at least in actually any of the BS Zelda games, they're all innocent. None of them will actually hurt you. They're all there to boost your powers and such. Like, the next one coming up at 115 is enemies will leave rupees instead of items, so it's only green, blue, and red, though. No hearts, though, so you have to be careful about that. The one thing I have to say I don't really like about the Sekiban ROM patches, at least, the versions I'm playing with, the text scroll on the bottom is so slow that by the end of its scrolling, that effect might already be over. Though, as I mentioned earlier, there is now a way to actually play with both voice acting in Japanese, English, and I think a few other languages, thanks to BSNES. I didn't do that just because, first off, having me talk over a lot of other people would just not sound that good, and it would honestly probably distract me a little bit. And it would just get kind of annoying. And here we get the big key. It'll unlock locks that you could not with a small key. It's the same way it was as in Link to the Past. You can now open big key doors and the big chest. Each dungeon still has one of those. It contains the dungeon item. And I say that because we're coming up on the current one right now. Now, something I'm going to further expand upon as we go, but also just kind of briefly mentioned here, one thing I really like about the dungeons in this game is that if they're in a place that one was in the original game, they're pretty similar. And here we get a bow. Shoot arrows, but only until you run out. It's the exact same bow and arrow. Though, you actually get access to extra bows and arrows a lot earlier on in this game than you did in the original Link to the Past. And anyways, I was saying, like, this is the Eastern Temple. This was here in Link to the Past. The layout is different, but you can tell it's the same dungeon, essentially, because it still has that central room back there with the bow and arrow, and it's laid out, all things considered, fairly similarly, both in terms of enemy variety and otherwise. And here we get the Igors. They're still kind of pathetic. You really do want to check every room in the dungeon, though, because first off, they give you a lot of money, but you'll also be using a lot of it if you're going for 100%. And secondly, there is something else in those rooms besides rupees, but there's only one of them per dungeon. We'll be getting to this dungeon in a moment. Also, that should have hit his eyeball. I'm actually not sure if you can kill the red ones with pots. I think you can, but I have a hell of a time trying to do it. Now, one thing as well that I'm missing out on because I'm playing basically just the original game patched onto a Link to the Past ROM is that, similar to the voice acting that the original broadcast had, the original broadcast also had remixed music from a drama CD released in Japan. Basically entirely either some just pure out radio tracks of Nintendo style, or actual Zelda remixes. And here we get the Pegasus boots. We can dash by holding down A for a while. There's a change to those I'll get to in a moment. This here's an upgrade thief. Looks like you're heading for trouble. Want to carry more arrows? Give me 50 rupees. In each of the 8 dungeons, one of those guys is around. They'll either raise your arrows or your bombs. Usually it's in the pattern of arrows, bombs, arrows, bombs, arrows, bombs. And the boss of the Eastern Temple is once again the Armos Knights, and they are even easier here for some reason. I can't tell why. Mind you, these guys were never hard, but that was pathetic. And there we get a heart container and our first stone tablet. You got a strange stone tablet. Does this stone tablet have some kind of significance? I don't know. I'd assume as much based off the title, at least. Either way, now that we got that, we should head back to Agina's hut just to get some stuff done. You will need the flippers to cross deep water and continue your quest. They can be found at Zora Falls. And this is the seer. She's basically there to be your, as I mentioned earlier, a bit of your tutorial person, and as well tell you what's going on down the bottom. Like right now, actually, now that it's 116, the next timed event has started. Infinite arrows. This is really good if you actually were a bit behind with me, bit farther behind than me, because then you can take down the Armos Knight really quickly. And there we got our first piece of heart. Piece of hearts are still in the game, and there are 8 in each of the game's weeks. That's actually why they started you with 4, so they can spread it out nice and evenly. And now that we actually have basically access to the rest of the world that we have at this point, which is basically just the Eastern Temple area going up towards the Zora Falls, we should start exploring around and getting some stuff done. First off, there's this extra room that has a shitload of rupees. Get used to seeing 300s, by the way. There's plenty of them in this game. And next up, we want to go towards the southeast this area. Because first off, there's the next piece of art. This one actually took me a while to figure out how to get. Dash into the wall, and the knockback will send you right over to it. That's actually pretty clever. I don't think the original Link to the Past did anything with that at all, even. And this here's a guy. It's too early. Come back later. Each of the 4 game weeks has a minigame that opens up generally around that hour of 45. So, like, right now, this one will open around 1:45. It's there to get rupees. There's no real point to it. And now we're back, actually, where Agina and Zelda found us. And there's some caves around here. That one on the right, I think, is just a fairy's fountain with some rupees in it that I'm still going to enter. This is the more important one, though, because there is rupees. And more rupees. And more rupees. And more. Get used to that. And now, actually, since it's 118, I do believe the gold potion is available at the magic shop. The magic shop's at the exact same place it was in the original Link to the Past, Syrup and Maple's place. Essentially, what the golden potion is that it heals your HP and MP, if I recall correctly, but it also halves the time required for your spin attack to take effect by half for 10 minutes. I probably said that horribly. I can't exactly recall at the moment because my short-term memory is being weird today. But that's actually a very helpful potion, especially if you're new to the game. So if you can find it, I recommend you go get it. And with that, we're actually done in the Eastern Temple area for almost the rest of this week's game, or this broadcast week. That's how I'm going to be basically referring to these areas for the part that we're in as the broadcast week. Now, after I show off this little fairy's fountain, we're actually going to leave the Eastern Temple area and explore what's around us. There's not much. In fact, the first week is honestly a bit too small for its own good. But we're going to see what we can do. Also, I've used it, but I've never taken note of it. You're going to notice that the Pegasus boots have seen a bit of an upgrade from the original Link to the Past, and even basically every other Zelda game after that. You can change your direction while running, and oh my god, I love it so much. I don't even think A Link Between Worlds did that. Neither did, what's it called? GameCube. Four Swords Adventures. I really wish they would bring this back in 2D Zelda. This would be so useful. The next time we would see something like this is probably the sprint button in Skyward Sword. And that's kind of disappointing. Yeah, wow, look at that. Not even 20 minutes in, over 1,000 rupees. The only other Zelda game I can think of off the top of my head that had surplus of 1,000 of any currency was the Force Gems in Four Swords Adventures and A Link Between Worlds. Honestly, though, you don't really need over 1,000 at any point in time because the biggest purchase in the game, I think, is somewhere around 500. So really, you don't need as much as I go for. I just do because I like money. Anyway, break down that rock and we can get the next piece of heart. And we're actually very quickly going to find our next one because, as you may have figured out by now, even though the land of Hyrule looks overall the same, there are some changes, like this cave's now here, and inside of it is piece of heart number 4 within this chest. And now a new thing has happened, if you look at the timer. First off, at 120 rather, the rupee dropping stuff is ended. Right now, the infinite arrows is ended, but there's now a fog over the area. The fog doesn't really do much. I think it just foreshadows something that's going to happen in the near future. But it's a nice little weather change. I actually really like that they do that. And here's Syrup's hut. Let's check out what they got in here. It's basically the exact same as before. They got red potion, which is health, green potion, which is magic, blue potion, which is both, and the gold, which is a combination of the blue potion and a halved spin attack timing, as I mentioned earlier. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, we're going to finish off the rest of week 1. See you guys then.